to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right now, we're going to open public comment at 6:31. Do we have anybody for public comment? No? Okay, it'll stay open for 30 minutes. We have two presentations tonight. First, we'll have the Spanish trip.
They are not. Why
They're
don't
not.
we go with the...
Let's go with the track first?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go with the spring track relay team first. Yeah.
They're not too fast, are they?
No, I know, really. Some speed here, no.
All right.
So, anyway, this is the 4x4 relay team. So that's, together they run 4 laps around the track. Each guy has 1 lap, and they go as fast as they can. And at Clipper Relays earlier in the season, these 4 guys combined ran faster than any other high school team ever assembled in New Hampshire.
That's awesome.
So they ran 322. The school record previous to that was a 326.
Wow.
And it was a little personal for me because my own son was the former record holder on that team of 4 boys, so I had to break the news to him. And he was pretty upset for a couple of hours until he saw the video of these guys, and he told me, give them a pat on the back, they definitely earned it. And I'd like to introduce them. So it's Ryan Zumbach, who is our mid-D specialist. He's headed to UNH next year to run for them. We've got Ryan Jameson, who is primarily a hurdler, like the 110 hurdles, 300 hurdles, and obviously runs a very fast 400 as well. Owen Genados, who is our record-holding sprinter in the state. You were champ indoors in the 300, I believe. And right now he's leading D1 in both the 200 and the 400, and he's in the top 5 for the 100. And then we've got our sophomore in the group. This is Will Kudalitis. And Will is still trying to figure out where exactly he's going to fit in. But one thing we know is that he can run a very fast 400 split. And these 4 guys, were all together here, healthy, in the right place at the right time. And we're all lucky to have been there together. So on a personal note, I'll tell you, I wasn't planning on telling you this, but I'll tell you, on a personal note, my father, who was a longtime basketball coach, track and field coach, he passed away unexpectedly on Monday night, but the last conversation we had was about you guys and what you accomplished at the New Hampshire state record that was set. And he, in his way, he congratulated me, and then the next thing he said is, do you have a sophomore that can replace the graduating senior? And I said, I do in fact, because we've got another Zumba coming up, and he'll be a sophomore next year, so we're going to see if we can keep continuing our record-breaking tradition. But I will let these guys answer any questions you might have, or tell you about their experience if you want to ask.
Awesome. Questions, ladies? I know. So I know it's hard for questions on that, but congratulations on all your hard work. Did you run track 4 years here?
3 years.
3 years? This is your third? Second? And this is your second. And you guys are planning on staying? Yeah. I love it. Well, happy, congratulations and continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Jason. Is the Spanish trip here?
Yep.
Yep. Go ahead. Spanish trip?
Come on up.
Come on up. I love it. She cracks me up.
Well, the owner from the company is here with us. How are you, ladies?
Great. How are you? Hi.
Yeah, this is very informal today.
Mhm.
Okay, we just come back from Spain for second year. It was a success. We even experienced the blackout.
Oh, you were there during that?
Yeah.
Great.
I had 3 kids here who went with me, and I think it will be great if you listen in to them.
Okay. Sounds great.
Tell us what you did.
Yeah, tell us what you did.
Or
Yeah.
a highlight from.
A highlight.
Yeah.
So
And your name and what.
So my name is Tyler. I'm a sophomore. And so how the program starts is once we get to we land in Portugal, and then we meet our families once we take like a 3-hour bus ride to Casters. And then once we meet our families, and then from that point until school on like Monday or Tuesday, where you just get to know your family. So all the families that you get paired up with, they were all super nice. They all are like each person is matched with like someone they'll get on well with.
Mm-hmm.
It was just great. Like all the families, they know like what you need, and it's great having somebody that like is from the area that can like show you all the things that if you're just like visiting Spain you wouldn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
I loved my family. We got along great, and then it's great also for the Americans because we host them in September. So like the first 2 weeks of school is when we host them. So whoever you host, you get to go and live with them. So you already
great.
know that. Like for us, it's even better because we already know them, and it's just great having somebody you know about. So
That's awesome. What was your favorite part? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I really liked all the food there.
Really?
Yeah, the food there was amazing. So it's just completely different from what we have here. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my favorite part.
The one thing that I was going to add, because this year in Spain is a very religious Catholic country, so Easter is a big holidays for them, and this year it happens a lot of the holidays. It was the
Yeah.
St. George, the Virgin from the Mountain. Ama, tell me other ones than you experienced. St. Jorge, Labor Day.
Labor Day,
is
yeah.
May 1st,
May
so
1st,
they
yeah.
were a long weekend.
Yeah.
So we went into school like for 5 days.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
like we
This
had
year, and it was more time with family than in school.
How long were you there?
We were for
2 weeks.
2
something.
weeks.
You were
but
2 weeks,
We left
okay.
Saturday, and
Mhm.
we come back. We left on the 19th of April, and
Yep.
we came back on May 4th.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
So it was like a 2 long weeks.
Yeah, that's a long
It
time.
was very interesting.
But it was very, very good.
Yeah.
When they came here, they had a lot of school time, but when we went there, we had like barely any school.
Really? Yeah.
It's great.
Which is actually, for you, it's great because you get to see the country
Yeah.
instead, not
Right.
instead, sorry, but yeah. You're supposed to be in school, sorry, no, you're not.
No, but that experience the school.
Yeah,
And we go from kindergarten to the last grade from high school with
Okay.
seniors.
yeah,
So that experience each part of the school.
That's
We go
awesome.
For few hours, we are one day, the whole day in the school, but at the other days it's 4 hours, and they speaking with the kids in Spanish, in English, we play games, we do a lot with them.
yeah. Oh, great.
So tell us about your favorite part.
It's my turn. My favorite part.
And who you are.
Oh yes. Well, hello. My name's Edward Preston. I'm a freshman, and yeah, my favorite part of Spain, probably getting to visit like all the cities and stuff. Because I mean, I like history, and their history over there is like so much richer than like ours in terms of like age.
Yeah.
Like, you get
Yeah.
thousands of years instead of hundreds of years. So like, there's so much more to see, and like the buildings, walking around is just kind of like, it's just like it's a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
What was your favorite city that you visited?
Ooh,
If you could pick one.
Trujillo. There was a castle there,
Oh,
and I was
really?
like, I loved that.
That.
Walking on the parapet, I was like, yes. You'd be such an idiot to attack that with medieval weapons. But yeah, and then like you can see from the castle like all the palaces and the walls and all this stuff, the like grand square. It's beautiful, and then like the rolling hills. It's just like it's pretty wild. It's very different from here.
Yeah.
Not to mention it was 90 degrees, so that was pretty nice.
I'll
How
take
did-
that
how
after
did you
today.
survive the blackout? I was in Lisbon during the blackout.
You were in Lisbon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. For me, yeah, we played Uno. There are a lot of cards, a lot of card games involved in the blackout.
The three of us, we all lived on the same street.
Yeah.
So they came over, and then a few other people came over, and they all came to my host family's house, and we had like a pool party type of thing.
Oh.
How long was the blackout? How long did it last?
It was like 10 hours?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
The streetlights came on as we were walking back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
Which
no
was great.
internet, no
But yeah,
access
no
to
Right.
internet, no
anything.
internet.
Yeah,
for a
some
while.
people saw it in the ground.
Oh, she's the owner from the
Some
company.
people lost it for like more than 24 hours. Like
Oh,
we lost
really?
it for 14 hours. Some people didn't get it until like 30 hours.
Wow.
It was easy for us because we were just all just hanging out.
Yeah.
Right,
Gas
not a
grill,
pool.
Uno.
Yeah.
We were set.
You were, yeah, no complaints, right?
Yeah, no complaints.
Good food. Yeah, exactly. Oh, awesome. Great.
If I had to add something, I would say I think the time period, like the 2-week mark, I think that's a very good way to embrace yourself in the culture. It's really enough time to, like, just, I don't know, like, what am I trying to say?
Whatever
It's
you
great.
want.
Yeah.
One week you will not be
Yeah,
enough.
1 week isn't enough to
Right.
see everything you
Yeah.
want to see.
Did you get to
But-
practice a lot of Spanish?
Whole
Yeah.
lot of
A
Spanish.
whole
yeah,
lot?
yeah.
Do you feel like
Everyone's
more
speaking Spanish there,
competent?
Yeah. No, I do. I think it helps a lot because
Yeah.
to really learn a language, you have to embrace yourself in that language.
Mhm.
So it does help you grow as like a Spanish speaker a lot.
It's like if you want to get something you want for dinner, you need to know how to say it.
Yeah.
Or
And it
I
has to
just
be more
use
than
my
pizza.
phone and
Yeah.
go like right there.
A lot of them
Wow.
are very good at English though, so if there's any confusion, like there's a lot of fluent English speakers there.
Oh,
so
good.
there's no problems there.
Nice.
So one becomes fluent in Spanish.
Oh yeah, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
You're fluent in
Ajá.
Spanish? Wow.
Basic.
So basic.
Hiciste un video para
Oh.
la clase.
And you're the freshman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
So
just
did-
grow up learning Spanish?
Yeah, our school taught us from.
Oh, okay. So that's
Oh,
why.
okay. I was gonna say, like, yeah, is it family bred? Is it, you know, no, it just,
not family.
no.
Yeah, and then you come to my class.
There you go, see?
It's very
I
different
love
though, like because I feel like they learn languages from a young age, so they're all very proficient. I found in English, and like I was like kind of like, oh my gosh, like I only know one language and I feel kind of bad, but it feels like also very late to learn another language when you're my age.
Mhm.
So the younger you practice it, I think the more your brain adapts to it.
Yeah.
And did you practice?
Oh.
There's like an importance on learning different languages over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, different values.
They have like after school, like
Yeah.
the student I stayed with has like after school like English classes the same way you would go to like
Oh.
swimming classes or something.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
really?
There's like an importance to it because like
Mhm.
Europe's a pretty condensed place and they don't all speak the same language, so it's
Right.
like well, like
So it's kind of the universal
just
there,
know
a little
those-
bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least two, so you can like
Mhm.
if everyone knows two, you're casting a wide net for
Mhm.
communication or something.
Were you in a small town or a big town? Like, was it
Yeah, I would say it was a smaller town.
like a
Yeah.
size of
Small city.
Hampton?
A little bit bigger.
Bigger.
I mean,
Bigger
yeah.
than Hampton, okay.
Yeah, they were big buildings, but it wasn't like.
Wasn't like
Populated.
Boston?
Yeah, it was like tight.
Okay.
Like they have like sections where it's like a bunch of houses and then other sections is just like the city. So
Okay.
like one of the people, so like the three of us lived in just like normal sized houses, just like all like near each other. But one of the other people that went on the trip lived in a condo like on the top floor of a place, which was really cool.
Okay.
So
The view must have been
it's
amazing.
Like, yeah, and then another person, they lived like way out in like kind of the grassy area, like in the middle of nowhere. So, but it's cool because we all still got to see each other in school, and then like the event, we would go to school like for half the day, like around that, and then after that mark, we would go and we would do some sort of like activity in the city, or like so we did like horseback riding one day. We did all the cities we saw a ton of the old cities.
Mérida, Trujillo,
Yeah.
Cáceres,
So yeah,
So would you
Lot of
go
ways.
back?
I would definitely go back.
the
Yeah.
museum,
Okay.
Suecos.
I love
The
it.
really cool part is the time difference. So like you like just the way they function. So like having lunch later in the afternoon. Like I don't know if you went to Spain and just like traveling there. I don't know if you would like do that. If you would like have breakfast, have lunch like that late, or if you just stay on your normal eating schedule. But it's very cool because you can be with the families and just follow exactly like how they eat.
So what is their schedule then?
They eat like breakfast normal times. Like we went to school at like 8:20, 8:30. So that's when we get to school, and then you could have like a snack, like you bring like a sandwich or something around, and then you eat that at like 11 ish, and
do we sleep here or no?
Yes, yeah, naps. There's always naps after.
Oh,
after
good.
lunch.
See,
Yeah.
see, I like naps. Naps are
You
good.
eat a big lunch, and then
Yeah.
you like go and you sleep for a couple hours, and it feels great.
Oh my god.
But
Should we
Owen,
do
the
that?
big
I wanna
question
do
is,
that.
Did you
City
run
shutdown.
while you were in Spain
Yeah.
and stay in training
I
for
did,
track?
yeah, we had a lot of free time there, because like our host families would have to do their homework and whatnot. So I would just use that time to do my homework or go out, run, whatever I had to do.
Stay on track
We
to
were
win
running
some
hills
more
by
races.
the neighborhood.
We lived on like a hill that
Yeah.
was just straight
I
down.
always see this guy going.
Oh. Oh my god. Well, it sounds like a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing them, for
But
sure.
thank you
How many
for
did you take?
allow
Not
us
just
to
three,
do
right?
this trip.
No.
There was more
This
people.
time we went, there were just 7 students.
Seven
Last
students,
year we
okay.
brought 11.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yes.
We'll
thank you
continue
so
to do
much.
it. I think it's a great experience. And thank you.
That's the provider.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
As a mom,
Yes.
Sure.
so first time, had to get a first passport, had to do everything
Yeah.
because we've never, I've been to Florida, but that's about it. And, the organization of the entire program in Carmen was all over. I had to get WhatsApp, which I didn't even know what that was, but apparently I live in a cave.
Yeah.
And, I learned all about, and she communicated constantly. And, when we had our, it was definitely, I will say, since everything's been super perfect, having the exchange student come the first 2 weeks of school, I think is the perfect timing for them, but super hard for us because I wanted to provide something, and for anybody that has a fall sport, Ty plays football.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he doesn't get home until 7 or 8. So I've got this child who would like to present, New Hampshire to, and the timing was really tough. So we had the weekends, but they got to go to New York. So they did stuff like every single day, like our kids did. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they got to ride horses.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty fancy. But all the communication was really good. The host families were vetted well.
Yeah.
Everything was, the parents did speak amazing English, so we Google translated each other and we talked all the time.
Oh.
They had a lot of freedom. I kind of had a little heart attack, like he was going to bed after midnight every night because they
Yeah.
were walking the streets of a ridiculously safe city.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Very
who are
safe.
you, what parents are with you? This is happening. You can't do this. And maybe it's just, he's the oldest, so it's not like he's my youngest and I've done this before.
Yeah.
But it was really great because he came home, he was significantly, look, he's mortified.
Yeah.
He was significantly older when he came home.
Yeah.
And it was because of the freedom that they gave them while it was complete. And on their weekend away, the parents took them to the town they grew up in.
Oh,
So
wow.
he experienced a Labor Day weekend with a massive Spanish family.
Nice.
Was cooking and preparing food that he'd never seen before, those processes, and they were super authentic. And he brought home a Coke bottle that was in Spanish, so I think pretty successful.
That was a great trip.
I just thought as a parent it was handled really well.
Oh,
I
good.
thought it
Well,
was
that's good
very
to know.
Yeah, that is
managed
good to
very
know.
well, and the price was very affordable,
Really.
which is important when you have 1,000 children.
Well, this is, yeah. This
If
is
they're
true, even if you have just one.
Carmen
I
Duran.
have another one coming. She's gonna be a freshman next year, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
she is absolutely there.
Oh, she'll be there. Yeah, she will. Sorry. That's nice to hear, though. I'm very glad. That's
Very, very welcome. So.
good. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so
for
much.
Thank you for supporting.
Yeah. You're free.
Winnacunnet Pride.
All right. So.
Oh my God, our last one, Zoe.
No. So seniors are almost done. We have finals next Thursday and Friday, and then graduation on the 6th, which is so crazy. We had our student council elections for next year's officers before April break, and I'm here with Sadie DeStefano, who is next year's student body president. So she'll
Welcome.
Be Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yay.
She'll be back in June,
Okay.
and yeah. So
Oh my God, yeah.
last week we had our Spring Spirit Week. We had Salad Dressing Day, Rhyme Without Reason Day.
Wait a minute, salad dressing day?
Yeah, we had seniors were house dressing and they wore like pajamas, and then juniors were ranch, and they were like Western.
Western. Oh,
Yeah, and
wow.
then sophomores were Thousand Island, and they dressed tropical, and then freshmen were French, and they dressed French.
Oh my God, that's a riot.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then, Rhyme Without Reason Day,
Mm-hmm.
Neon Day, Surfers versus Bikers Day, and then Class Color Day.
Nice.
The freshman class is trying to do one last fundraiser before the end of the year. I don't think they figured out what they're going to do yet, but they're trying. And then the sophomores are going to have their second comic book show in June. The junior class had prom this past Saturday, which went very well. And the junior class is also having their community oven and Susie Sweets fundraiser on June 2nd. The senior class is having decision t-shirt day next Wednesday, and senior week the week after next, and we'll have senior sunrise, scholarship night, senior breakfast, senior banquet, and chem free. And then the whole council is going to the State House in Concord this Friday for our last conference.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Then the art show was last week. The Winnacunnet Coffee House will be here tomorrow. There is going to be the first ELO Expo next Tuesday, and then the Winnacunnet Jazz Band is playing at the Seashell also on Tuesday, and this spring concert is next Thursday. So a lot going on. And then all the spring sports teams are doing really well. Teams have been playing Exeter during all different weeks, and a lot of teams are having their senior nights this week. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
And we had Unified Sports Day today.
Oh yeah, the Unified Sports today.
Oh yeah, that too.
That was awesome. I ended up coming over and just checking it out. It was, everybody was having such a blast. I wish
Yeah.
I'd seen the Zumba class. They all did Zumba after lunch, yeah. So, but yeah, it was well done, and the kids all seem to be having such a good time from all the different schools. So
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Zoe.
Yeah.
What are your post-grad plans?
I'm going to UVM next year.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You know that?
I know that. I know that's cool. Yeah. If you ever need a ride, let us know. Awesome. Well, enjoy it.
Thank you.
You'll have a blast. Okay, so our minutes. Could I get? Oh, actually, I don't think we can.
No,
We
'cause
can't do minutes because we don't.
Oh,
Trisha wasn't here, and we can't vote. So we'll go right down to reports.
I'm gonna plug you in, I have a presentation for you this evening.
All right, Zoe, don't forget to take your name tag.
Okay.
Oh, I don't feel it. Do you want me to bring that one over?
Is that one on? Matt?
Yeah. I don't have to hold it, I can just leave it here, right? Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you. I do have a presentation for you this evening about our LEA special education determinations that I will start in a second. But hot off the press, this is where I was at 5 o'clock this evening. I was invited to say a few words at the ribbon cutting for the brand new location of Seacoast Youth Services. And it's really important across SAU 21, but for Winnacunnet, their partnership that we have with Vic and all of the wonderful therapists that work at Seacoast Youth Services has been an outstanding partnership for me for the last 3 years, and I know for a long time with Winnacunnet and with all of the districts that we serve. So they have just now this really beautiful facility. They were formerly in Seabrook, but now the grounds, they have a pond, they have places for the kids to spread out, and it's just really, really lovely. I had a tour of the building, and everyone is just really excited. If you don't know, we partnered with them to provide an alternative to suspension program. And so some of our students have the opportunity, when things go awry, to learn and do some academics in a therapeutic setting rather than be at home and sort of reduce their time out of school and then come back ready to learn and ready to restore and make amends. So
that's been one really successful program among others that we do with them. So just wanted to shout out the team at Seacoast Youth Services and Vic for a lifelong career of serving youth and their families, and it's just an incredible partnership. So thank you for letting me share that. So annually, I've been coming to you when we get these determinations each year. They were delivered on April 1st, and we've had an opportunity to dig in and take a look at what they are. So some of this will be review to you. Just wanted to remind you that as a result of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, all states are required to make these determinations annually on the performance of each of the public school districts in their state and how we're doing with the implementation of regulations related to special education. And so there are indicators that go along with 4 main areas that they look at in these categories. And when they do that, they provide a rating. And I'll explain to you again how we get that rating, but obviously we'd like to be in the meets category, and that means we're meeting the requirements. They give us a rating in each of the 4 main categories, and then there's a system for how they take that information and give you an overall rating. And then we go from there, and I have a little information about how we did as a state this year on that I'm going to share with you. Last year I told you that they changed the scoring system to make it a little more challenging and just kind of raise the expectations and the standards. Prior to last year, we were allowed to receive 38% of the points, and this works like golf. The lower the score, the better. So what you want is 0 points. And that means that if you meet the targets, and they set 2 targets, they set an overall target, and then they set a state target that's based on the average of how all of the schools did that particular year. By the way, all of this data is last school year's data. It's not coming from this particular school year that we're in right now. So they wait until the end of the year, and then they spend time during the next school year analyzing it, coming up with what the targets would be, and then they publish by April of the following year. So it had been up to 38% of the points in 2023, and then last school year they changed it down to only 30% of the points to stay in meets, and they kept it. So they didn't change it again this year, so still 0, no points, up to 30% of the points keeps us in meets. And then the needs assistance also became a little more challenging, 30% of the points, 30.01, up to 60%. And just to go over the 4 categories, the first one is called results-based. Things like graduation, dropouts, our environments for special education. You won't have the preschool parts of this particular category here. You will have post-school outcomes for our kids with disabilities. They look at all of that, and then they determine a section result. The second area is assessment, and out of those indicators, we're looking at the participation in the state testing. We're looking at the proficiency levels. How about closing the gaps between students with disabilities and typical peers, and then students who participate in the alternate assessment, and what does that look like in terms of their progress. So those are the first 2. Then we have compliance. That's where we're looking at our suspension and exclusion data, our disproportionate representation, if there is one. That looks at, how are students disciplined as with disabilities? Are they suspended more frequently if they have an IEP than students who do not? They look at those things. Child find and early childhood transition, those are for the lower grade schools. And secondary transition is what we look at here. So how are we handling transition post graduation or post age 22? And then the last category is what they call additional factors. How do we do with our grants? How do we do with complaint allegations? Is there a turnover in the special education administrator? So all of those things are factored into that category. Then, as I told you, they look at all the sections combined. So we have a rating in each one of those sections. And then if you start at the bottom of the slide, you'll see that we can have a overall meets if we have 4 meets for all categories, or 3 meets and 1 needs assistance. And then I want you to pay attention to the next one up. To be a needs assistance, we can have 0 of the needs substantial intervention, and 2 or more needs assistance, or, and this is going to be important for what I'm going to show you in a second, 1 of needs intervention. So if you land with all meets except for 1 needs intervention, then that lands us in the needs assistance category. So I was able to squeeze in the new year in the slide from last year so that we can look at now 4 years of data, keeping in mind that we're still talking about the previous year, even though it says 24-25, that data is from the previous school year. And you can see that we remained, again, for the 4th time in needs assistance. But if you look at how the actual data spread out, and you can read the chart horizontally for each year across each line, looking at 23-24, we were in needs assistance for both results and assessment, just as we were the 2 years before, even though it got more challenging last year, so that was a good sign. Improvement for 24-25 because we jumped to meets. And look at the number, look at the percentage there. It had been 60% of the points, 60% of the points, 50% of the points, and then we got down to just 20% of the points. So that was a significant improvement when we look at that particular results-based category, right? So we just want to kind of say great job to everybody here, the director, Amy Terrian, her whole staff, Bill, everybody that works so hard with all of our students with disabilities. The place where you can see the real differential here for us this year was in that assessment area. And if you look at the actual percentage number, that was kind of a big jump up to that 83.3% of the points. We received, 15 out of 18 possible points this year. And that landed us in the needs intervention category. The other 2 stayed in meets, which is great. But again, having 3 meets, but only just 1 of the needs intervention landed us back in needs assistance. This year, they decided to create a new level, and that is if you're in needs assistance for 2 or more years, they created a new category. And I'll back up to that in a minute, but this is the slide that tells you that the additional category is now called sustained needs assistance, and that's an overall needs assistance for 2 consecutive years. And that just means that there will be additional required corrective action, training. The whole goal here isn't to say got you or we're doing something wrong. It's the purpose behind this with IDEA is to ensure that states have the support that they need to get the job done. And so the state is compelled to offer assistance, to offer training, and to ensure that we have the resources and the tools necessary to try to close those gaps of achievement and try to ensure that we're meeting all of those indicators as we're doing. One of the things, if we want to point to, what is it about assessment that we can really hone in on and work better? A big piece of that is just participation. And I know that, oftentimes students feel a little more anxious on test day when it's a state testing day, but participation is very important. And so whatever we can do to help students feel comfortable and help families feel comfortable to make sure that their kids are in school on that day and are participating. And many of our students are provided with supports and accommodations and strategies to use during testing as it states in their IEP. So all of that can happen so that they can participate and we can have that information.
Mary, is that really the participation is that big of a from 38 to 83?
That's not all of it.
Okay.
Obviously the proficiencies are in there, the discrepancies between the gap closing. We have work to do, there's no question about it. Like we have to really, one of the things that we're talking about is how we can better think about the delivery of that specially designed instruction so the kids are getting what they need and that they're prepared when it's time for the testing. A piece of this year was 3 students who needed to participate in the alternate assessment, and that's challenging. My experience has been, we did a lot of, in Massachusetts, portfolio assessment, paper pencil. Here in New Hampshire, The alternate assessment is done on a computer. That's challenging for some of our kids that need a different way to show what they know. Even if we're saying that they need an alternative, sometimes having that alternative be on a computer is in itself challenging. So that's another piece, and it just so happens that this year there were 3. The year before, I think there might have been none.
Okay.
So, you know, it changes. And the other thing is that the targets change. It's hard for us to even predict how we'll do next year because they don't know what the target is going to be set at until they see how all of the districts did in the state. And then they set the target. And that's how they decide if you're going to get, you know, meet both targets, you're a 0. Meet one target, you get 1 point, and then, you know, the other thing. And don't meet one target, you get 1 point. Don't meet both targets, you get 2 points, which is the highest for any one of the indicators. And the required actions, as I said, is access to the technical assistance. We have to, by June 15th, attend an introduction to the LEA determinations rubric training. The folks here are attending that. It was just rescheduled. So I believe that's happening on the 29th. I can't go with the team here to the webinar version. They're going to do it virtually. I'm going to go to the one in Concord on June 5th. I'll go in person to be part of that. We have to select one area of the rubric. For us, it's going to be assessment. That's the only area of the rubric that we had this particular needs intervention. So that's what we will choose. And by September, we have to have a plan of how we're going to access our technical assistance and what that's going to look like. And then by next March, we will document all of the steps that we took all of next year to take advantage of the technical assistance and report the progress that we made in that selected area of the rubric. So again, this isn't about anybody doing anything wrong or I got you. This is about compelling the state to support us in this work, which is difficult. And you know, everybody wants to do a great job. So, any other questions I can answer for you?
Good. Anything? No.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Oh, I have one more thing. I brought this
Sure.
with me because the other districts were interested in this. One of the directors sent this to me. So, out of 177 total LEAs in New Hampshire, a total of 54 were in the meets requirements. So that is either all 4 meets, green, or 3 of them and just 1 needs assistance. That represents only 30% of the LEAs across the state. 105 were in the needs assistance where we are on the overall. So that was 59% of the districts. Then we had 18 that fell into the needs intervention overall, 18 districts, and 0 in needs substantial intervention. So that's good news across the state.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill.
End of year dates and schedules, as Zoe mentioned, things are going very fast and quickly. 2 weeks from tomorrow we'll have graduation. It is planned to be outside right now, but hopefully the weather improves quite a bit. But no, everything's on track. So it's an exciting time as the year wraps down. On Monday we had the state science testing. Tuesday we had the state science testing. Today we had the youth risk behavior survey. And then tomorrow we're doing the New Hampshire Gallup student poll to get some feedback and information that helps us. This will be the 3rd year for the Gallup poll, so we'll have a substantial information that we can start taking a look at and making some changes to see how the students are doing. As Zoe mentioned, next Tuesday we have the ELO Expo, and donations, we received 2 donations, one from the United Way of Massachusetts Bay and Merrimack Valley. They donated $123.44 to support student activities. And then Dress for Success donated $720 in gift cards for students in need of assistance for formal wear for the prom. So I'm sure that was used this past week. The other upcoming activity, and my staff I love so much, is the Animal Action Club has a Animal Action Splash Tower fundraiser that has been rescheduled to next Friday, and I will be here. So basically, during all lunches please bring extra cash to dunk Mr. McGowan.
That's graduation.
What time? What time would that be?
During lunch,
Okay,
11:45
girls, who's
until
going?
after 1. But you are welcome to also be dunked.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
that's
no, I think
okay.
I think we'll do the throwing.
I'm out of town, actually.
So,
Yeah.
so,
I really am.
That's awesome. I love it. Great. Well, that'll be good.
and enrollments are stable, and I think we went through all the upcoming dates, so it's rapidly ending. But
Coming
so
up.
far, it's been a great year. And just a few more weeks for the seniors, and another week or two for everybody else.
I like it. Good job. Mhm.
Public comment.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. It's 7:12. We'll be closing public comment since there's nobody here. Thank you. Good call. Our curriculum report is in there. Special services administrative report is in there. Facilities report is in there. But Matt is here for our financial ones. Yay.
I think, are you all the rest of them? maybe?
Thanks, Zoe.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, and
you
good
guys.
luck next year.
Thank you.
We'll see you at graduation.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome again, sweetie.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Good night.
I know, aren't they? Oh.
We'll keep the streak going for
Go
them
for it.
departing as I.
You love that, right? As soon as we say finance, those kids are
That's
gone.
their cue.
It really is, isn't it? I love
You
it.
never know,
I'll-
we might get a finance major here soon.
We could, yeah, that would be nice.
Right,
Has heard all about the great Matt Ferraro.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
No finance major is gonna be class president.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it brief. So the year-to-date expenditure and revenue reports are both updated in board docs for your review. The expenditure report does show a balance of negative $300,000. However, please note that that does not reflect the withdrawals from the building maintenance and health insurance expendable trusts that we voted on to cover those overages. In addition, we if you recall, the board did vote to utilize any surplus revenue that we may have by the end of the year up to $150,000 as well as retained balance. So we do have a positive total balance, and once those numbers, once we do close the fiscal year and have audited numbers by September, we should have a retained balance that we'll be able to move over to the next year. Additionally, we will potentially bring forth some warrant articles next budget cycle for the board's consideration to replenish the trust, and that would be to ensure that we maintain our fiscal stability moving forward, since we have made a few withdrawals. Of course, we still have a month remaining in the fiscal year, so I always note that we are monitoring for any unanticipated expenditures. However, I don't expect that we should have any substantial changes from where we are now. So I'd be happy to answer any questions in regard to the either finance reports.
Questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Alright.
Why don't you stay right there?
Stay there, you have a lot more.
Yeah, because then because we're gonna, the continuing business, we'll just leave it because Desiree's not here. So we're into the federal grant, general assurances.
So every year the board is required to review and sign off on the general assurances, which essentially reflect that we are abiding by federal law because we receive federal grants. We receive our IDEA for special education, title grants. This is the board and the administration signing off that we are doing so properly. Now, this year is a little bit different than previous years because the assurances are there's some changes at the guidance from the federal level where those assurances were adjusted slightly. So what we are recommending is to hold off until the joint board meeting and hold another meeting at that point to take action. So ultimately, you'll be able to decide whether to sign off on those assurances, which is the likely outcome. But NHSBA is recommending that we hold off on signing those assurances because there is ongoing litigation. So.
There's an annotated version in board docs,
Right.
and if you hover over each highlighted area, you can see a short piece of information that Shay did a comparison from the previous version to the new version. You were the second board. We had a meeting last night in Hampton Falls. We had just hot off the press at 5 o'clock or 5:30 received news from the attorney about the fact that this is a newer version. So you're the second board to see this version of them. The other boards all decided to hold off. And Meredith's suggestion and recommendation is that since we have joint board coming right up, perhaps she could have an attorney here to kind of fill us in on some of that, and then each board would have to post and hold a special meeting directly after, because it has to be done by June 1.
Okay.
And so each board that evening after joint board would convene a special meeting and vote to sign the assurances that we need in order to receive those funding.
So then we don't need this motion to authorize me to sign it?
It's your choice. Meredith wanted you to have the choice. If you wanted to do that tonight, you could. But her recommendation last evening to Hampton Falls, and what she shared with Matt and I to share with you, is that if you'd like to hold off until you get to hear from council next week, then you can hold that meeting afterwards.
And we probably
We're advising to.
Yep.
It'd just be prudent to wait.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's great. Okay.
It's not, our joint board meeting is scheduled for next
But
Wednesday.
spend a little
Yes.
time getting familiar with that annotated version, because you can actually, and if you hover, you can see exactly how the language was changed, what they added. There's something interesting right at the beginning about not including the superintendent as a title, but just replacing that with a different title. You can just see how it's changing.
Yeah.
One thing that Meredith did point out that is worth looking at when you look at the annotated, if you look at number 12, and this is why I think she's not as concerned about it. This is similar to what was in there before, but it says that the subrecipient will comply with all applicable requirements of all other federal laws, executive orders, regulations, they added to your colleague letter, and non-regulatory guidance and policies governing all programs. That sentence alone means that we have to abide by everything that we have in the policies and all the regulations. So, it's good cover there.
Okay. All right, girls, so we have our homework before joint, okay?
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Yep, so before next Wednesday, make sure you read it through, okay? All right, and I'll tell the other two also. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
The award of trash removal?
So the bid process has concluded for our trash removal contract. We did send bids directly to 5 qualified vendors, and we received 2 bids. And we are recommending award of bid to G Mello Disposal Corporation for $600 a week. Funding from or for the trash removal contract is in the 25-26 operating budget. We budgeted $34,000. If you calculate $600 a week, that comes to roughly $32,000. However, we always have some special pickups, like a rollaway, so it's going to be right in line at that $34,000. So.
Great. Can I get a motion then to accept it?
Yeah, I'll move to award the bid for trash pickup to G Mello Disposal Corporation for $600 a week for the trash removal contract. And in the 2025-2026 operating budget.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Lunch price recommendations.
So every year, the board is required to approve lunch pricing for the following year. So I have included on the documents, on board docs, there is the historical pricing as well as our recommendations. We are proposing a slight increase of 15 cents for lunch and 10 cents for breakfast, while also being cognizant that food security really is an important part of student learning. That being said, we did make the slight adjustment because we have seen substantial increases due to inflation for both our food costs as well as our supplies, so like paper goods, plasticware. And we are required through USDA to meet a certain threshold. So we are recommending that the school board approves a lunch price of $4, a breakfast price of $2.65, and a milk price of 65 cents for the 2025-2026 school year.
Maybe we should get some chickens and, we have the garden. If we had chickens and then maybe some cows, might work. I know, I hate, we all as a board and I think everybody here knows nobody likes going up on these prices. But we have to. But at the same token, there is help for people who can't, and if these prices are hard, it's out there. We have it in, everything's in place and it's it's very easy to do without anybody knowing. So, and I want people to understand that, so, yeah. Okay. Sorry, leg cramp. Okay, so, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve a lunch price of $4, breakfast of $2.65, and milk price of 65 cents for the 2025-26 school year.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Great. All those in favor? Thank you. All right, we don't have any personnel. So our next future meeting is we have our joint board meeting Wednesday, the 28th. We have our next Winnacunnet school board meeting is June 11th. We have nothing for non-public, so go for it, Nicole.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Yes.
All right, second.
Thank you. All those in